The rain fell softly at first, almost as if it were testing the world below, pattering lightly against the leaves and rooftops. A soft gray sky stretched endlessly above the city, its melancholy hue reflecting the mood of those wandering beneath it. I had always loved the rain, but that evening, it felt like it had a purpose, a quiet, intimate purpose I could not yet understand. I was walking down the cobblestone streets, each step echoing through the deserted alleyways. My coat was damp, clinging slightly to my skin, and my hair was plastered to my forehead, but none of it mattered. The world seemed to narrow to just the rhythm of the falling rain and the distant hum of the city around me. Then I saw her, standing under the dim light of a street lamp, her hair glistening with droplets, a soft smile tugging at her lips. She was an apparition in the grayness, a splash of warmth and color in an otherwise muted world. My heart skipped in a way I could not control, as though it recognized her even before my mind did. She looked at me, eyes wide and sparkling with some secret delight, and I felt a pull I could not resist. I quickened my pace, drawn toward her like a moth to a flame, feeling the chill of the rain bite at my skin yet utterly unaware of it. As I reached her, the rain intensified, drumming against the cobblestones with a loud, urgent insistence. She raised her hand, letting the drops slide down her fingers, and laughed softly, the sound echoing like a bell in the still night. "I didn't think anyone would be out in this," she said, her voice teasing yet soft. Her eyes caught mine, and I felt as though the world had paused around us, leaving only the two of us in that rain-soaked bubble. I tried to respond, but words faltered on my lips. How could I speak when the mere sight of her was enough to unravel me? Instead, I simply smiled, letting the silence between us stretch, comforting and electric at the same time. She stepped closer, and I felt the warmth radiating from her, a stark contrast to the cool rain washing over us. My heart pounded, every beat echoing in my chest like a drum. The world blurred around us, the glowing streetlights, the distant rumble of thunder, the shimmering puddles that reflected our silhouettes, all seemed to fade. There was only her, only us, and the rain that seemed to bind us together in this fleeting, perfect moment. Then, without warning, she closed the gap between us. Time slowed. I felt the brush of her lips against mine before I could even process it, a kiss tender yet intense, fragile yet consuming, soaked in the sweetness of the storm. The rain poured harder, drenching us completely, but we didn't care. Her arms were around me, and I could feel her heartbeat against mine, syncopated and alive, and for the first time, I felt an unspoken understanding pass between us. The kiss deepened, becoming a language of its own. Words were unnecessary. The rain, the city, the night itself became our audience. Each drop that fell seemed to celebrate the connection we had discovered in an instant yet felt eternal. I tasted the salt of the rain and the faint sweetness of her lips, and it was intoxicating. It was as if the storm had washed away every doubt, every hesitation, leaving only raw, unfiltered emotion. We broke apart only slightly, just enough to breathe, and our foreheads touched, sharing the warmth and intimacy of the moment. The world outside could have crumbled, but in that circle of rain, nothing else existed. "I've wanted to do that for so long," she whispered, her voice trembling with sincerity. Her eyes searched mine, and I realized that this was not just a kiss, it was a confession, a promise, a surrender of hearts. I laughed softly, unable to hide my own emotions, and murmured, "I was waiting for the rain." She smiled, her lips brushing mine again, softer this time, like a secret shared under the sky. The rain fell heavier, drumming on our shoulders, our hair plastered to our faces, but we did not move. We were rooted there, two souls entwined, finding solace in a single, unrepeatable moment. Around us, the city carried on oblivious, cars splashing through puddles, strangers hurrying by, yet we were untouchable, shielded by the storm, by the universe conspiring to make this night ours. She laughed again, shaking the droplets from her hair, and I realized that joy could feel so electric, so vivid, that it could almost burn. I reached for her hand, holding it tight, unwilling to let go even as the rain soaked through our clothes. Each step we took together became a dance, slipping and sliding through puddles, spinning under the lamplight, laughing like children discovering a secret world. It was reckless, it was freeing, it was the kind of night one dreams about but rarely lives. And yet, there was a seriousness beneath the joy, a gravity to our laughter, a weight to our closeness. This wasn't just a fleeting romance. This was a connection forged in vulnerability, in trust, in the magic of an unexpected storm. She looked up at the clouds, letting the rain fall on her face, eyes closed, lips parted in quiet exultation. I watched her, captivated, and felt a surge of affection so strong it nearly brought tears to my eyes. "Stay with me," I said softly, my voice barely audible over the rain. She opened her eyes, and in them, I saw the reflection of my own longing, mirrored perfectly. Without a word, she pressed herself closer, and we continued walking, the rain masking our whispers and laughter, our shared secrets melting into the rhythm of the storm. Puddles splashed around our feet, and I realized that everything, the city, the night, the storm, had become a backdrop to something far greater, the raw, unguarded connection between us. Every so often, our lips met again, fleeting kisses that carried promises, memories, and a depth that words could never capture. Each one left a spark, a small flame in the chill of the night. We passed an old bridge, its iron railing slick with rain, and paused, leaning against it, watching the river swirl below, reflecting the fractured lights of the city. I felt her fingers entwine with mine, warm and sure. "It feels like we're the only ones here," she murmured. I nodded, understanding perfectly. In the rain, in the storm, in this impossible serenity, it was only us. The sky rumbled above, a low, comforting growl, and we laughed again, letting the storm wash over us like a blessing, cleansing the world and leaving only clarity in its wake. We shared stories between kisses, memories, laughter, and confessions, our voices mingling with the patter of the rain, forming a symphony unique to just this moment. I realized then that the rain had been more than a backdrop, it had been a catalyst, an accomplice to the intimacy we had stumbled into, daring us to abandon caution and embrace the moment fully. She tilted her head, letting the water stream down her face, and I brushed a soaked strand of hair from her eyes. The simple gesture felt monumental, intimate, like a silent vow. We wandered further into the quiet streets, discovering hidden corners, graffiti walls, tiny cafes shuttered for the night, all under the soft sheen of rainwater, feeling like explorers in a world that had paused for us. Every glance, every touch, every shared laugh became magnified in the intimacy of the storm, and I found myself drinking in her presence like it was air, like it was life itself. At one point, she stopped abruptly, and I nearly collided with her. She spun around, laughing, eyes twinkling with mischief. "You're too serious sometimes," she teased. I grinned, realizing that in her company, even seriousness became play. The rain began to lighten, falling in soft whispers now, and we found ourselves standing beneath an awning of a small, closed bookstore. The smell of wet pavement and old books mixed in the air, intoxicating and warm. She pressed a hand against the glass, fogging it with her breath, and I leaned beside her, tracing shapes in the condensation, our fingers brushing, sparks igniting at each touch. Time seemed to stretch infinitely. Each second was a story, a memory, a heartbeat. I knew, in ways words could never describe, that this night, this kiss, this rain, would linger forever in both our minds. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I felt a quiet contentment settle over me, a sense that all the chaos of the world had been suspended, leaving only the calm certainty of us. And then, as the first hints of dawn crept across the horizon, painting the sky with pale gold and pink, we realized we had wandered far, yet it felt like no distance had been traveled at all. We stood together in the lingering drizzle, sharing a final kiss, one that was soft, promising, and full of the unspoken understanding that this night was only the beginning. The city woke slowly around us, unaware of the magic that had danced through its streets hours before, and we stepped forward, hand in hand, ready to face the world together, hearts still drumming with the rhythm of the rain. Even as the sun broke through the clouds, drying our clothes and warming our skin, I could feel the memory of her lips, the sound of her laughter, the sensation of the rain enveloping us. It would stay forever. We laughed again, remembering small moments, tiny splashes, the thrill of daring to live in the storm, and I realized that some nights are not meant to be forgotten, some kisses not meant to fade. And so, in that city, under the fleeting grace of rain and the eternal promise of connection, we found something rare, a love that began with a kiss, born in a storm, and destined to carry us through every quiet drizzle, every sudden downpour, every season of life. The rain may have stopped, but it had left its mark, on our clothes, on our hair, but more importantly, on our hearts, a permanent reminder of a night when everything changed, simply because she kissed me in the rain.